You're listening to the Packernet Podcast Network.
You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show, the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. I don't think we have any new callers. We have an unknown caller, but we'll see how that goes when the time comes. I tell you what, let's not skip all these calls. I want to make sure we get to some of the new stuff, but, you know, people did call in during the game. It's an important part of the show, so let's get some thoughts on that and whatnot. I'll skip a few here, but I'll tell you what, let's just start with this one right here. 7:30 sounds about right? If you called before 7:30, I'm sorry, but, you know, it's how she goes. Pedro. Got to hear from Pedro, the redhead from Brazil. What is going on?
Hey, Ryan, it's me again. I have absolutely no idea if you can hear me.
I got you.
I'm at the stadium right now. We just scored the field goal. It's 3-0 here for the Packers. I don't know what happened on that touchdown of Reed. I think it was illegal formation for both sides. I mean, that's crap, right? So the stadium has more Eagles fans than I expected. It's kind of half-half, but they're really loud. So I don't know how you guys can hear it in the television, but it's pretty half-half here. So let's see. Hope the defense shows up again, and the offense has to step up. We need that touchdown. It was like 30 yards only. So yeah, let's see if we can get a touchdown on the next offense. Okay. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.
Well, first of all, let me say this. I mean, obviously, and I'll talk about this more tomorrow. There's going to be a lot of hate toward, I'm not going to say Brazil, but like the fact that we went to Brazil because the field is being blamed for Jordan Love getting hurt, which is stupid. I think what's happening is a lot of people who are against the team traveling are using this as an excuse to say, see, we shouldn't have gone. It is a real lame excuse. The field was bad, and I've already said that. Trying to make a connection between the field and people getting hurt is silly. I don't think there was one injury because of the turf. I mean, who got hurt? Saquon got hurt because he ran into Brooks. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson busted up his hand. Jordan Love got hurt because somebody rolled up on his ankle and then his knee. I don't know what happened to Lindsley. We haven't even talked about it since Jordan got hurt. I don't think the turf caused a single injury. So that whole thing is kind of nonsense. But anyways, all that aside, I know there's a lot of stuff that got overshadowed, but at the end of the day, we were all real excited about this game, real excited you got to go. So all that to say, I hope you had an awesome time. Can I just say this, by the way? I wanted to talk about this yesterday, but it was obviously an upsetting day, so it didn't really come out. I don't know if you guys experienced this. Me and my half-Mexican attorney talk about barbecue quite a bit, grilling, smoking, all that stuff. There are times when you do something and you spend the rest of your life chasing it because you're never going to be able to replicate it. It was that good. I think I had one of those moments yesterday when I made that picanha. That or picanha is just way better than I thought it was. Here's the funny part. I just thought about this. I think I was thinking of tri-tip. I don't know if I've ever made, I know I've had picanha because I've gone to steakhouses, Brazilian steakhouses, but I for some reason, I'm pretty sure I bought a picanha, but maybe I'm thinking of a tri-tip because I talked about some people talk about you're supposed to grill it, but I think that's a tri-tip that I was thinking of. And I didn't so I'm kind of coming into this with low expectations. Yeah, picanha's fine. It's not the best thing in the world. It's kind of like a roast a little bit, whatever. Every single thing was perfect. My expectations were low, number one. I don't know why, because again, I've had picanha at Brazilian Steakhouse. Maybe I just thought I can't cook it. I don't know. Expectations were low. Didn't eat anything, so I was beyond starving. The smoke was perfect. The sear was perfect. The internal temp was everything was perfect. This was the most juicy, succulent, perfectly cooked, fall apart, tender, amazing experience. The Brazilian sausage, by the way, also fantastic. But I died a little bit. And then, to make it even better, because I'm trying to be a responsible human being for once and not just eat until it hurts and then eat a little bit more, I walked away from it. And then I spent the rest of the day just daydreaming about it, because rather than being in pain and thinking I hate that food, I just thought about how much I loved it. So, my Lord, and I understand it's probably not the easiest thing to get a hold of, talk to a butcher or see if there's some online thing where you can get it, but some of the best food I've made in a long time. So that's happened maybe 2 times. That's maybe the second time in my life that's happened. And the first time was one of the first times I made a steak with my Weber grill. And I don't even know that it was necessarily that good. I think it's just because I never ate steaks because we were poor, still kind of are. But like, I didn't even buy meat. I wouldn't buy chicken because I'm like, it's too expensive. Just buy like bread and rice. But it doesn't matter. It's just it's all about the lore, that you build in your head. And that steak was perfection that I'll never make again. And this picanha, whether it was because of the being starving or what, it doesn't matter. Like, this was just an experience. Man, get you a picanha, man. Oh, my Lord, it was good. All right, I had to get that off my chest. Got to talk about some stuff more positive, and the way things are looking right now, grilling and movies and stuff might be that, and I am going to lean real hard into laughing at the enemy. It better be a bad week for the NFC North. I don't think it's going to be, but I'm going to make fun of every little thing because I need something to latch onto. I'm already finding stuff all over social media that's minor, but it's just like, you know what? No, you're pissing me off. We're going to talk about this. So I'm excited to get into the regular podcast. Pedro, sorry, please continue.
Oh! I mean, that kick, that was amazing. I haven't thought about it. It was like almost an onside kick. It was amazing. So I think it's a really cool gadget to have here. And I forgot to talk about it on my last call. So, I mean, I have no words for the emotions that I felt when I saw Jair entering the stadium with the Brazilian flag. I don't know if the Philippines showed that, but the Packers went in the stadium with the Brazilian flag. It was amazing.
Wow.
Oh, now if you can hear the booze, is it because it's the Eagles offense time? So
I knew
talk
it.
to you later. Okay, bye-bye.
I forgot to mention that, by the way. I had said I hope the Eagles get booed when they come out there. I didn't know about them holding Brazilian flags. That's awesome. And but I said it during the live stream. It was like you could hear the Go Pack Goes. I'm like, oh, there it is. And then when the Eagles would go, when they were on offense, I'm like, those are boos, dude. I was hoping that the Brazilians would hate the Eagles, and it sounds like they did. So listen, mission accomplished on that one. Brazil is Packers country, bottom line. And the idea that the Eagles are going to go there and have support, nonsense. This is absolutely and I love the way the Packers handled it. The way they handled the whole, fear-mongering by the NFL and whatnot, whether you want to call it that or not, I don't know. But the way that they scared the crap out of the players, they didn't just come out and relay that to the media and then to come out and fully support, speak in Portuguese to everybody in the press conferences. Was it Vipac Bavai or something? And then to be, waving the Brazilian flag as you come out. Like, I love that. And then the Eagles come out and they get booed. And when they're on offense, they get booed. So Brazil showed out for the Packers, and I greatly appreciate that. I'm still, as devastating. I shouldn't say devastating. We don't know. I don't know the situation. You probably do. I'm worried. Last I heard, they believe preliminarily, this is just, doctors like pulling on the knee and stuff. I've had that happen to me before. They just kind of pull in different directions to see how it goes. They believe the ACL is okay. It still could be very serious. It still could be an ACL, but probably not. I'm guessing the doctors know well enough to know what that would feel like. But anyways, I'm glad that you guys got to see it, and I'm glad that Brazil showed up for the Packers. It's everything I ever hoped for. Pedro, what else you got?
It's me again. We just scored another kick. What's happening with the offense, man? I can't understand. I mean, the referees are throwing flags every time we score. I don't know what's happening. It's not clear to me. It's hard to hear the officials here in the stadium. So it's not really clear for me what's happening. But Jordan Love needs to step up.
Yeah.
We need that receiver to get open. And we're better in the game. The defense is pretty good, but the offense needs to step up, or we're not going to win this game.
Yeah, I mean, hindsight, it felt like a bad combination. Kind of actually similar to what happened last year. Last year a lot of things were disjointed, largely because they weren't really in a rhythm. This was less about there being a rhythm and more about being disjointed for other reasons. You got penalties, you got bad offensive line play. Sorry, Blaine, I can't. You know what? Hold on. All right. So, look, I feel like there was some general discombobulation, different than what we saw last year. Last year, I think it was a bunch of receivers that don't know what they're doing, a quarterback and a coach that just, they're not on the same page. They haven't really figured out a rhythm. And I think in this situation, you had a lot of like, man, if it wasn't just for that mistake, if it wasn't for that stupid penalty, if it wasn't for the drop, if it wasn't for whatever, this could be a high-functioning team, high-functioning off, and that goes for the defense too. If that had been a pick six by Keyshawn Nixon, if Jair had come down with that pick, and granted he got mugged, but I'm just saying, if he had come down with that, if some of those tackles had taken place, there were times where we're about to get set up in good situation, and there's two missed tackles, and instead of a 1-yard gain, it's a 11-yard first down kind of thing. So, sloppy execution is different than just this team sucks. Now, you have to tighten it up, right? You have to hope that, okay, a lot of penalties, it's week one, these things happen, we got to adjust that. The tackling is always pretty bad early in the season, at least generally, because there's not a lot of tackling happening prior to the season. That's kind of a thing you build up to a little bit. Doesn't mean they're going to be good at tackling. It just means you can pinpoint sort of an excuse for now. In other words, I'll give you a week or two, but there needs to be some progress here. And like always, I would rather this not be like a 9-week finding ourselves expedition like the last 2 years. Week one, fine. I mean, that was a reputation for the Packers for a long time, where the Packers suck week one, and then they come back and dominate everybody. I mean, remember getting blown out by the Saints like 50-0? It's like, our team is what was that, 2020 even? Let me look at that real quick. I believe it was a year that actually went quite well. Let me just look at this real quick. So, if we go to 2020, week one, no, we beat the Vikings, so let's try 2021. Yes, 38-3 in 2021. We ended that year 13-4. This was not a 38-3 drubbing. This was a close game filled with bumbling mistakes against maybe, again, I don't know if they're a good team or not, but these things change constantly. But they appeared to be a talented team that also made a bunch of mistakes. But yeah, I mean, that next week, week two, was a 35-17 win over Detroit, followed by a 30-28 win over the 49ers, followed by a win over the Steelers, and a win over the Bengals, and a win over the Bears, and a win over Washington, and a win over Arizona. And then you got the Chiefs game that Rodgers didn't even play in. That was a close game, Then a win over Seattle. I mean, it was a very, very good season. So No reason to necessarily overreact. I mean, again, you can't get worse than 38-3. That is, your offense and your defense are the worst ever. And we didn't see that. So we'll just need some patience, I think, for all involved, and hope that things get better. Again, I'm just setting aside the Jordan thing for now, getting information as it comes in. Let me just, I don't know. Again, as of right now, the ACL, I think, is okay. The ankle is okay. It's just a question of, is there any other damage, MCL or otherwise? But there's a chance he gets back on the horse in a couple weeks, and we can just pick up where we left off, and we'll be all right. And we'll see how she goes. Snacks, what's going on?
Dude, what is going on here? Penalties, people falling down, turnovers, and then more. It's just, is this the strangest, most disjointed start ever? I mean, I get it. It's the start of the season, and they haven't had a lot of reps, but my Lord. And there's still 3 minutes left in the first quarter. All right. Narvison, look at him. Wearing a linebacker's number. I'm in.
Yeah, and I mean, that just piggybacks perfectly off what I said. I mean, it's sloppy, and I mean that somewhat literally. And we have to take that into account, too. Not only were people slipping, but what are the consequences of a super slippery field? I mean, you got guys out there kind of scared to make hard cuts. You know, that could cause issues with running backs, receivers, corners, linebackers, everybody. Everybody is unsure of their footing now. They're not. It's hard to play as fast as you possibly can. Again, I'm making excuses, but it's just things to keep in the back of your head, that this is not just the most normal, noon game at home, week, 10. Like, just there are no crazy variables whatsoever. There was a lot of pretty wild variables in this game that could throw things out of whack. So, Pedro, go ahead. I think we'll take a break with that one. We'll be back with some snacks. Kick off the 2024 football season with Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. It's the easiest way to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch your winnings roll in. This September, get automatic win every week by picking Caleb Williams to get just 1 passing yard. That's right, 4 weeks of free wins, but only if you jump on it before September ends. And don't forget, you can win up to 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct picks. Prize Picks even has injury insurance, so if your player leaves the game early, you're still in the game. I've been loving Prize Picks, my go-to for simple, fast, and fun fantasy action. When my picks hit, I get paid in as little as 15 minutes. Download Prize Picks now and use code PACKDADDY to get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code PACKDADDY for $50 guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Remember, Prize Picks is a skill-based fantasy game, making your lineups just got a whole lot more exciting.
AT&T customers, switching to T-Mobile has never been easier. We'll pay off your existing phone and give you a new one free, all on America's largest 5G network. Visit T-Mobile.com/carrier freedom to switch today.
Pay off up to $650 via virtual prepaid MasterCard in 15 days. Free phone up to $830 via 24 monthly bill credits plus tax. Qualifying port-in, trade-in service on Go 5G Next and credit required. Contact us before canceling entire account to continue bill credits or credit stop and balance and required finance agreement is due.
Hey! JR to the house! What a whirling dervish!
I tell you what, man, obviously, and I've said this before, 1 week this guy will go off, the next week the next guy will go off, but if everybody's still wanting to ask the question, who's the number one wide receiver, there is now a front runner. Because here's the thing, it's not just what happened, it's how it happened. Jaden Reed showed some ability that I think you need if you're going to actually be sort of a premier receiver in this league. We know he's like just a solid slot guy, right? He's got some speed. He's good route runner, decent hands, whatever. It's just he's fine. He just does the right things, ends up in the right place, and makes plays. Good for him. The amount of space he had, I haven't had a chance to go back and look at it, but this dude was wide open a lot. The route running was a little better than I expected. The speed was a little bit better than I expected numerous times. The hands were perfect. And maybe the most impressive thing is after the catch. Obviously, one of those was from behind the line of scrimmage, which Packer fans hate, but in this case, absolutely worked, and now expect to see it a ton. So expect to get really frustrated when it doesn't work and we hammer it 6 more times because Matt LaFleur is like, hey, it worked that one time. You shut up. But his ability to not only get the speed to the outside, to see what's in front of him, to navigate through that mess of people. But then the biggest thing, and this happened, I think, every time he touched the ball, breaking tackles. He would not go down. I mean, he had a touchdown that got wiped off the board. He broke a bunch of tackles, and that one came back. And then he has another one. He breaks a bunch of tackles. And then he has that end around or jet sweep or whatever that breaks a bunch of tackles. Where did that come from? I mean, he would not be denied in any way. So if you're looking for a guy that's got speed, route running, after the catch ability, and not just, making guys miss, because you think, well, he's a smaller or elusive guy. Yeah, he'll make guys miss. I'm talking breaking tackles. Defenders with their arms wrapped around him, and he's like, nope, and just keeps on going. Things that you expect from bigger receivers. Man, what a freaking day that guy had. Those are my favorite calls. I know we lost. I know Jordan got hurt. Those are my favorite calls, and I'm going to enjoy them.
Dad, hey! Look at the love man step up and send it right over to JR, the whirling dervish! Woo!
Whirling dervish. Where does that come from? What does whirling dervish come from? I don't know where that comes from. The term whirling dervish comes from Mevlevi order, a Sufi order founded by the followers of the Persian poet and mystic Rumi in the 13th century in what is now Turkey. The whirling refers to a specific form of physical meditation or spiritual practice known as sema. Snacks, are you like a freaking genius, or do you just say random words? Because what the heck is this? Where practitioners spin in circles while in a meditative state. This dance is intended to bring them closer to God. I think you're just dizzy. The Sufis, who performed the ritual were called dervishes. A term that sorry, I'm just picturing it in my head. A term that generally refers to members of Sufi orders who have taken vows of poverty and asceticism. Well, yeah, vows of poverty. Bro, you're broke, all right? You don't need to brag about it. Like, oh, no, I wanted to be poor. I chose this. This is what I wanted to do. The whirling is symbolic of the spiritual ascent of man toward the truth. Do you go in circles when you get... Okay, anyways. With the dancer, it's dancing, seeking to abandon their ego and connect with the divine. The whirling dervishes are most famously associated with the city of Konya in Turkey, where Rumi lived and taught. Today, the Mevlevi order continues this tradition, and the whirling dervishes ceremony has become a ritual symbol of Turkish spirituality and Sufism. I hope you enjoy learning things on this podcast. Yeah, dude, the whirling dervish. Now, we got to do the podcast, but I cannot wait to get on YouTube and see what a whirling dervish looks like. Snacks, thanks for that. More snacks. I think we got a swear coming, so earmuffs, kids.
Halftime? Up 2? Playing like shit? Shoot, sorry, crap. I'll take it. We march on.
Yeah, and we were up by 2. I mean, again, you look at it and go, man, despite all the mistakes, there's a lot to like here. And I think in the second half, Packers made more mistakes. That's just the way she goes, boys.
Hi, Ryan. It's Randy from Minnesota.
What's up?
And it's halftime. Yeah, we should have scored at least one touchdown, those 2 turnovers. But, Oh, my goodness, this team is playing great. I'm so pumped up. Got the lead. We're going to win this freaking game. Go, Pack, go. Thanks for what you do. Bye-bye.
And again, that's an important... Holy cow, the whirling dervish thing is a lot weirder than I expected. Oh, I was picturing, like, poor people out in the street just, like, spinning in circles. This is in, like, a amazing dance hall. This looks like from a movie about a cult or something. They're in, like, these white flowing gowns. One person is wearing red, and they have these... It almost looks like a thimble, but it fits over their heads. And then they spin in this dance hall. Okay. No, I mean, it's good to hear back some of these calls. I mean, you could just listen to that and be like, oh, yeah, well, how did that turn out, Randy? But in reality, I think most of us were sitting there at halftime going, I like this. I feel good about this. You know, mistakes, but I like the way our team's playing. I like how Jordan looks. I like how the receivers look. Offensive line kind of sucks, but defense is playing fast and physical and scary, and I like it. I like the aggression. I like the takeaways. There was a lot to like. And we shouldn't, have some revisionist history here where we come back and pretend it was all terrible because of the end result. There was a lot of bad, but let's not forget that there was a lot of exciting and fun things that did happen. Hello. All right, that's a nothing call. Let's try again. Nope, nothing again. All right, Chris from Alabama.
Hey, what's going on, Ryan? This is your boy, Chris from Alabama, man.
What's
Calling
up?
at halftime of this wonderful game right now, man. Just wanted to give my halftime analysis. I was going to call before the game. I'm pretty sure it was a lot of call being in this week 1, so I just said I was going to wait till halftime just to make sure that my call will get in. Man, I'm okay with the first half. You know, it was a couple of penalties that we had that we could have put an extra couple of points on the board. I know we up 19-14 right now, which is good, but in all actuality, we should be up at least 24-14.
Yeah.
But we got a whole half to play.
And listen, there's every reason to believe that the Packers should have won the game. And I'm not trying to come back and be like, oh, they were whatever. But let's just seriously think about this. There were touchdowns that were there that were taken off the board because of like penalties. I'm not saying they shouldn't have been, but you've got, let's say, 10 out of 11 guys playing at a level on a given play that is like playoff caliber, and one guy that's pooping in his pants over there at left tackle. It really, again, cliches all over the place. It's that whole game of inches thing. One little minor thing makes the difference between, the Packers scoring on those drives in which the defense set them up with fantastic Xavier McKinney. Good Lord, what a play by him. Multiple early in the game, but getting those picks. We got helped with the bad snap, but look at Devontae Wyatt. He saw that ball from the first second, jumped on top of it. Just great hustle, getting upfield, all that stuff. Really good job by the defense. And then, the offense had what they needed, but man, if the offensive line had played a little bit more like the second half and the first half, we probably could have scored 2 more touchdowns. If the field goal kicker would have made the field goal, but he barely missed it. He dinked the uprights. Not making excuses. I'm just saying, you just change some things a little bit, and it's a drastically different game. But it was sloppy, and so there were a lot of mistakes, and little mistakes make big differences in football games. So a lot of big differences, unfortunately.
Everything is everything. Everything is all good. Reed is having a day at the moment, and we're going to see who's going to have a day after that. Hey, I'm good with what I saw. I know some things that could have been better. So I'm just going to sit back, and I'm going to watch the second half, man. I'm hyped, man. First game of the year. I'm hyped. It's Packers football, NFL football, period, back. I'm good to go, man. But so far, so good. Week 1 can be tricky. Just like I said, you don't never know what you're going to get. For right now, I'm satisfied, and I'm waiting to see what's going on in the second half. And hopefully we can come out with a victory, and I really feel like we're going to come out with this victory. But go, Pack, go. I'll talk to y'all after the game. First half is a success. Let's go ahead and finish the job.
Yeah, and again, there's no reason to dunk on that. I think there was every reason to believe the Packers could, especially since you expected the team to settle down. What I didn't expect, for example, was Jordan Love to kind of take a big step back. And, maybe it was the cramping that he was experiencing. We saw him eating bananas and getting massaged over on the sideline with his calves. I don't know, but some things got better, other things got worse. And when the quarterback is one of the things that got worse, you were in big trouble, especially when part of that regression is him throwing a pick. But, what can you do? What can you do?
Hey, Ryan. Trucker Bob here. It's halftime. Packers up 19-17. Sloppy game, slippery field. Penalties are hurting us.
Yeah.
We only got 6 actual official penalties, but we've had 2 or 3 times both teams got called for penalties on the same play. So, if that makes 8 or 9 penalties in the first half of Green Bay, that's really, really bad. First time, though, I've ever seen both teams on the same play called for 12 players on the field at the same time. I've never seen that call before. I thought that was interesting. It's the only reason I'm really calling in was that one was kind of crazy. We got down to the field, and I love the field goal kicker. Everything's right down the center. That's really nice. So maybe this kicker's going to be pretty good. Other than that, it's just, it's the first game of the season. It's sloppy. The field's sloppy. So I have no idea who's going to win this game because it's just sloppy. Yuck. Anyway, go Pack, go.
Yeah, and that about sums it up. We're getting close to caught up on yesterday's calls. So I don't think there's a ton of second half negativity. We're kind of just all hitting on the same points. I know I'm coming from a different place. It's obviously I saw the second half, the loss, all the bad stuff that happens. But again, I generally, this is where we're at. Does it matter if Jordan's not playing? No, it doesn't. You can have a good coach, good group of wide receivers, good tight ends, good everything. Not going to win if you don't have a good quarterback. You're not going to win, especially if you have a bad quarterback. But, again, we can only control the variables that we have in front of us. I'm happy with a lot of what I saw yesterday. The biggest issue was the overall general sloppiness, and you hope that the sloppiness gets fixed over time. But I have made the mistake 2 years in a row now of getting doom and gloom, saying the season's over and turning over to the draft, and then being proven wrong as the Packers surge and get into the playoffs. So I'm not going to make that mistake again unless the Packers are officially eliminated. Our goal is the Super Bowl. Just because I can't see the path doesn't mean there can't be a path, whether that's with Jordan Love or not. So this is where we're at right now. Why don't we take our final break. We got 3 more calls from Snacks, Pedro, and Omar. And then we are caught up from the older calls, and we can get started on some of the newer calls. So we'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Hey! Hello there! To the Reverend Randy Watson!
Reverend Randy Watson. Some of my favorite calls, Snacks. Just the touchdown celebrations. I love it.
Okay, why in the hell we didn't try the 2-point conversion right now? I don't understand. It's like 26-24, and I don't know if the announcers are talking about something that I can see, but it makes no sense to me. Absolutely no sense. Now the defense needs to step up. We need to stop this ball, and I don't know. We need a interception, a sack, or something. We need to stop it. Something I think.
Yeah, and as much as the defense, especially in the second half, started to disappoint, the offense constantly, you get kind of tired of saying, all right, defense, we need you to step up, because the offense didn't. Thanks for the pick. Sorry we couldn't step up. We're going to need you to get a stop here. Hey, thanks again for another turnover. We only got 3, so, if they score, we're behind, so we're going to need another stop here. Hey, we didn't get that 2-point. We need a stop. Sorry we didn't get it. We need a stop. It's just, at some point we need the offense to be able to carry its own weight. And again, you look at the score and it's like, oh, offense good, defense bad. It's like, no, it's not really the full story. But whatever. Again, is what it is. All right, final yesterday call from Omar.
What's going on? It's Omar 5-5. How y'all doing?
What's up?
All right, the game is over. Saquon Barkley is a beast, like I knew he was. His only problem is he got injury concerns, and I knew since it was the first game of the year, he's going to be fully healthy and energized, and he showed us why he's a great running back. 2, I don't hate Jacobs, even though Wilson got more yardage. We were not blocking for Jacobs at all. I don't know what the hell was going on. I don't like that we didn't really stick with the run. It was kind of like when Wilson came in, everybody just was like, all right, it's a pass, and we ran. But it's like we should have been more consistent with running the ball, but we wasn't doing a good job. So it's kind of a mix, or at least in the first half. We kept doing too many empty sets. I didn't really like that because then they know you passing versus having a running back in the backfield. You might pass, you might run. So,
and I did mention that yesterday of kind of riding the hot hand. I mean, Jacobs got hot down the stretch. I mean, he ended with, I think, 5.7 yards per carry, and that's in the first half having less than 1 yard per carry. So he really broke out, and a lot of that is due to the offensive line. But you're right. I mean, that was a benefit of needing to stick with the run, not completely abandon it. But I do wish sometimes they would kind of just adjust their plan. Not saying it has to be the whole game, but if Jordan's struggling and Emmanuel Wilson is the guy, ride that hand. And Josh Jacobs picked it up. Cool. Let's hammer that. I mean, the defense is gassed. We're able to find some lanes here. Josh Jacobs is also able to figure out, navigate where. It's working. Wicks having a real bad day. Let's stop targeting him. Reed having a real good day. Let's go in that direction. Not saying every play needs to be in that, but it would just be nice to see a concerted effort to say, for whatever reason, this guy is on fire. Let's lean a little heavily into that.
Showing our hand a little bit more than I wanted to. Defense played well for the most part. The tackling wasn't. It was a hit and miss.
Yeah.
I don't want to hate on the defense for real because Eagles had talented players and we got 2 turnovers. It really is the offense in the beginning didn't score off of those turnovers. That was the major deal that reason we lost. Not mad at the kicker, you know what I'm saying? He would have made 2 or 3. Like, that's fine. So I'm not mad at that. Just everybody, as long as Jordan Love's all right, we'll have a good season. People will get better. So that just proves to us that we can't hang with anybody. Like, that was a good game regardless, even though we lost. So just stay positive. Cooper, I need Cooper out there more. McDuffie
Cooper
really
looked
didn't
good,
do
man.
much in the game. I don't really know how he did, but I saw him get pancaked a couple times. So Cooper, when he was out there, I saw him making plays. So I definitely like Cooper. The rookies playing well. I didn't see Williams. I don't even know if Williams was out there. But either way, I'm not mad at Jair. You know, he got burnt, but some of it was a slip, and some of it he just got burnt. But he also got turnovers, and you know, you gotta live with that. So anyway, go Pack, go! Everybody be positive. It's a long season. I'm mad. I put 2 bets on this game. And everybody I said scored except Jacobs. If Jacobs would have scored, I would have got like an extra $30. And if Jacobs and Wicks, if Jacobs and Wicks scored, I would have won $1,200. I'm mad as hell. But anyway, go Pack though.
Yeah, I went on Prize Picks, and they have different ways of doing things. But one of the things they have is they'll tell you like this is a less likely to happen bet, but will pay out more if it hits. I did exclusively less likely to hit bets because I thought it'd be for fun. Why not? If you're gonna do something where you're probably gonna lose, let's really lean into that. It was at first the only one that hit was our kicker needed to make more than 1 field goal, so then he needed to make 2 field goals. He hit that early, but none of the other ones were hitting. Then A.J. Brown got that big touchdown. I'm like, oh, there's another one. All right. Then I needed, Watson and Dobbs to get touchdown. Watson got his touchdown. And then Rashawn Gary, I needed a sack. He got a sack. I needed Kenny to get a sack and Romeo to get a touchdown. If that would have happened, which obviously it didn't, but if that would have happened, it would have been $2,000 payout. I think on like a $20 bet. So it was a pretty big one. It was just it added some excitement because by the first half, none of them had hit except the kicker. And then all of a sudden it was just boom, boom, boom. Like the big play to A.J. Brown was like, well, that sucked, but hey, at least I got another one. Then boom, Christian Watson. And then boom, sack Rashawn. And it's like, wait a minute. Wait just a minute here. But anyways, add a little bit of fun to your life. Check out Prize Picks. The promo code, I believe, is PackDaddy. So check it out. Make sure it works. I am over here hitting refresh feverishly on the PFF stats because you mentioned Edgerin Cooper. I'm hoping we got some good news from that. I really liked what I saw from him. He plays fast. It was just good to see. It was funny because I think at halftime somebody had said he had gotten some tackles. I'm like, I didn't think he was even playing. I didn't see him one time. I thought he was kind of just gonna, maybe once in a while he gets put on the field. But it was one of those things where he's basically just sitting on the bench the whole game. It's like, how does a guy get 2 tackles? I haven't even seen him one time. And then by the second half, you start to identify that number. Like, who the heck was that freaking guy flashing across my screen that made that? Oh, that's Edgerin Cooper. Got to know his name and number pretty quick. So we'll see. I mean, I'm sure because of the way things are going, PFF is exclusively going to annoy me. Rasheed Walker is going to get like a 90 grade. Edgerin Cooper is going to get a 40 grade. It's just going to tick me off. All right, we are officially caught up. Proud of myself. We have 10 calls left. These are all from today. Let's get started with Dane.
Hey, this is Dane from Virginia.
What's up?
What an awful game. That was the worst game I've actually ever watched. And it's not because of our performance or even the Eagles' performance. It's because of the absolute embarrassment that field was.
That was bad.
How the NFL allowed professional teams to go on that field and slip around and slide around the entire game is embarrassing. I think it played into the Jordan Love injury that, oh my God, who knows how bad that injury is going to be. Please don't let it be bad. But I think it played into that. When you can't be elusive or evade the rush as quickly or as easily as you usually do, you're going to be trapped. You're going to be caught. You're going to be sacked more. You're going to get hit. That field was an absolute embarrassment. The Packers should sue the NFL for allowing their highest paid player in the entire NFL to get hurt. It was embarrassing. An absolute disgrace. Please, Jordan Love, just survive that. And let's win the Super Bowl this year. Come on. Go Paco.
Yeah, again, I'm not ready and willing to blame that injury on Jordan. I get what you're saying, where it's like, well, maybe if it wasn't so slippery, he could have run faster or something. I don't know, but Either way, it was I talked about this yesterday. The field was terrible. And you're right. The NFL has an obligation to check these things, and whether they knew and didn't care, or didn't care enough to even look into it, and they're like, "Oh, it's grass, it's fine." Like it's we don't really have any rules or regulations on field conditions, so just go for it. I don't know, but it's also, again, not necessarily a positive, but another variable that we're not going to be dealing with the rest of the year, which in and of itself is a positive. So you're hopeful that by not having to deal with that stupid crap, that, hopefully things will improve, I suppose. Pedro, what you got going on?
Hey, Ryan, it's me. It's Radford Movement. It's like 3:30 in the morning, and we've just got home from the game, so... I'm going to talk about the game itself the call later, but first I want to talk about the whole setup.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the most memorable experiences I had in my life. Just seeing the Packers and Jaden Reed walking inside the field with the Brazilian flag was something that really touched me, The stadium was like filled with people, fans of all the teams in the NFL, like all of them. I didn't see any, I saw like one Bear fan, and I didn't see any Lions fans, but despite that, it was like a couple of Vikings fans, and a lot of Patriots fans, a lot of 49ers fans, a bunch of other teams in the NFL, so they were definitely the most fans there, or from other teams. They definitely were more Packer fans than Eagles fans in the stadium. The fans that were neither of them, most of them were cheering for the Eagles. I don't know why. Probably because Corinthians is the team that owns the stadium. Made some kind of partnership with the Eagles or something. So most of the Corinthians fans were cheering for the Eagles. I think it was like, at least at the stadium, it was like half-half, So I don't know how it was in the city. But man, it was just amazing. I will remember that for the rest of my life, for sure.
Yeah, it was a little bit tough to hear, I think, everything that you had said, but I am really happy for you that you got to experience that. I think that's super cool. I mean, we talk about once in a lifetime. I mean, that probably was once in a lifetime. So glad that you got to experience that. I mean, who knows? I mean, Packers gave German fans a once in a lifetime experience, and it seems like that's going to be like an every year thing. So who knows? Maybe they'll be back somewhat regularly, but you got to see the Packers, and that's freaking awesome. I do wish it was a better result, but at the end of the day, you got to see some really good football. There was a lot of really big plays. I screamed about I remember we were talking about, like, as far win, lose, or draw is one of the more I don't know if exciting is the word, but heart-pounding, exhilarating, thrilling Week 1 games that I can remember. It felt like a playoff game. It was pretty wild. So happy for you. Glad you got to experience that.
Hey, Ryan, to me again. So I ended my last call because it was still 2 minutes. So yeah, talking about the game. The most important thing is how it is on others. I don't know. It looked pretty bad. It looked a lot of pain, a lot of pain when they left the field. So I'm definitely worried about that. But focusing on the game itself, I don't know what happened. I mean, it's really difficult watching it from the TV and on the stadium, but we had it's difficult to pinpoint a side of the ball that were the responsible for the defeat, because, okay, they put up like 34 points on us, but the defense got like 3 or 4 turnovers, and the offense just couldn't do anything. The defense was like, we talked a lot in the last few years about bend and break. It was like, don't bend and break, so, or they just couldn't move the ball at all. Boy, it was such a job. That is clean up. in the offense, like we had like 4 really bad drops, and our running game was kind of low. The Jets we did work though, so okay, there's that. But all in all, I think the Packers had a good game with like a bunch of mistakes.
Yeah.
And the officials, man, I don't know what happened. I just couldn't see most of the penalties that they were throwing flags.
Right.
It was just, I just couldn't understand most of it. Like every single time they just threw a flag. I think that on my perspective, if the officials didn't throw that many flags on some cases that I'm not sure they should have thrown it, the Packers probably win that game. So, yeah. That's it. Want to hear your opinions? Want to know what you guys think? And if you guys have any questions, just let me know. Okay? I'm trying to go. So, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Yeah, that is the hard part when you go to a game. A lot of times you don't know what's going on, especially penalties, which was a large part of this game. I remember when we went to that Lions game, real controversial. We didn't even realize how controversial it was until after we left and heard on the radio. Lions fans were pissed. The refs, they screwed us in this game, and you don't realize all that stuff that goes on kind of behind the scenes. So you'll probably have a lot to get caught up on. Be good to go back and rewatch that one. Yeah, I mean, it was there was a lot of that going on and a lot of sloppiness, as we said. So, and the refs, I think, massively contributed. There was a lot of things they didn't need to be calling, not just against the Packers. I mean, there were probably calls that did not need to go in our favor. There were calls that certainly should not have gone against us. That Jair thing was such a backbreaker, man. It was, it's one of those things where people in the chat were kind of getting upset, like, well, it was only second time. It's like, listen, it's one of those situations where the offense wasn't able to capitalize, and if the defense doesn't hold up, we're in a lot of trouble. Like, it's becoming critical territory, and you get like a really good play. I think it was like a tackle for a loss in the first play, and it's like, yes. It's like, all right, we got momentum going in our favor. And then the second play, I think, was like an incomplete or a batted pass or something, setting up what would have been like a 3rd and long, but penalty. So instead of like 2 plays down, 3rd and long, like, all right, we got this. You shut them down here. We get the ball back. Like, we're going to win this game. They throw a flag on Jair Alexander that should not have been a flag. It was a bad call. The receiver slipped. And again, it's like, I don't have any sympathy for these refs where it's like, well, from his perspective, bull crap. You should not be throwing a flag unless you explicitly saw him breaking a rule, and you did not explicitly see him do it. You just didn't. You assumed. What you saw was 2 guys really close to each other. They both had hands on each other, and then you saw a guy slip, and you thought what probably happened was Jair grabbed and pulled him, or pushed him, or did something, and so you threw a flag, even though you don't actually know. And I know that you don't know because he didn't actually do it. So anyways, I mean, those things happen. It's whatever. But it's annoying when the refs are so determined to throw a bunch of flags. I mean, it just made the game less enjoyable to begin with. I mean, for everybody watching, like, who wants to sit here and watch just flag after flag after flag? It's ridiculous. Just knock it off. So, anyways. Go ahead.
Hey, this is Jared, the Uber from Texas. Go Pack Go. I know this isn't the way we wanted the season to start. I want to say sorry to Pedro for having to see us lose in person, but it's still a good game in general, close game. And it really just came down to the penalties. I mean, geez, like, if we had, I don't know, like 5 less penalties, or maybe penalties that didn't extend a drive for the Eagles, we had like 1 or 2 less of those, I think it could have turned the tides, and, also would have helped if, our kicker didn't miss a kick. I don't really want to open that wound. But I think we did a real good job. Hope Jordan Love's okay. and go Pack Go.
Yeah, I mean, that's about it. I am going to be a little bit more critical on the kicker. Not, I don't want to just keep hammering it because what the heck is a point? But, I mean, that was the one good thing about the new kicker, right? Well, he struggles with the long ones, but he's clutch from short range. And we already get a missed kick. And it is a critical kick. And it's like, not that there are any good answers, and not that I would have expected Anders Carlson to make all these. And I don't want to just sit here and dance on everybody's grave too much, but let's just be very clear what I was saying. Just because you get rid of a problem doesn't mean you fixed the problem, right? Here we are in the same situation. So, again, my thought was, I don't think this guy's going to fix it. And I don't see a reason to bring in some veteran that's never been good at football. My point would have been, let's keep Anders, because even though, yes, he probably would have missed those kicks. Maybe he would have missed more kicks. I don't know. Maybe he would have made all of them. We don't know, and we won't know. The thing is, though, there's at least some upside there. And I don't think we have upside anywhere else. So now we just have bad kickers with no hope for the future aside from just finding somebody else. I don't know if Anders is much better because there's not a ton of hope. There's a very slim chance, but at least it's something to hang on to. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It's over, so. Nate Dogg, we got some swear words. I'll do my best to bleep them as they come, but I can't promise you anything, so you know how it goes with Nate. Just be ready.
Hey, Aaron, it's Nate. Yeah, obviously I'm calling in the day after because if I'm being honest, I turned that game off before halftime. And that's just a thing that I've gotten used to doing with the Packers, because they can be very predictable. And this is one of those scenarios where just the way that I saw them playing, just the whole start of that game, the whole first quarter into the second quarter, I said, this game is not worth staying up for. They're not going to win this game. And have I been proven wrong in the past? A couple times, but not this time. It was pretty obvious that this team was just not ready to play.
Yeah. And
there's just so many things that make me so angry because this defense looks exact same. It doesn't look any different. To me, it doesn't. Like, they ran all over us. They threw all over us. There was nothing. And I know it's week one. I know it's week one. But this was a big, important game. Like, the Packers are a historical team. This is the first game being played in South America. 100 years from now, if the NFL is still around, people are going to look back on this game. They'll be like, hey, well, it was the first game played in South America. Oh, that was when the Packers took a giant shit against the Eagles. But hey, at least they were in that first game. That's cool. That's cool. And how many times did I call in and mention how stressed out I was about this offensive line? And I know we try to stay positive and everybody's like, oh, maybe this guy will take a step. Maybe. No, I saw pressure constantly. And then our defensive line could do shit. Nothing. Maybe I missed something later in the game, but Jalen Hurts didn't look like he was running for his life or anything back there to me, and it was depressing to watch. I really thought at the beginning that it was going to be a totally different game when, defense got 2 picks or 2 turnovers and that 1 pick and a fumble, right back to back. And I was like, oh my God, defense is going to play lights out. Offense will get it together eventually and we're going to dominate this game. And then it took maybe 5 more minutes before I was like, okay, clearly this team is just, it's in one of those modes where they're just trying to figure out what the best way to shit the bed is. And they figured that out very, very well. Why, Jordan, he had some good throws and there was a lot of the receivers and everything, but didn't you just hold out, Jordan? Didn't you just hold out trying to get this big contract because you think you're worth it? And now,
Part 2.
Damn it, I hate that fucking cutoff. But anyway, Jordan didn't have, the best game in the world. He just held out. You'd think that he would want to come out here and, prove himself, and instead, now He had a bad game. He's injured. God knows when or if he's coming back this season. We spent a bunch of money. Now we're playing with a backup quarterback, and it's not a good situation to be in. Our offensive line sucked ass real bad. Like I said, I did not like our offensive line. The only person that I liked was Zach Tom. Pretty much is the only person that I was willing to stand behind. And he had a penalty. What is with all these penalties? Why you guys? What is with the offensive line not knowing what the count is? You guys just heard what the count is. No, it's not hard. On 2. That means the second time that he says hut, then you jump and you go and you get the guy in front of you. I played offensive line. It's not that hard. Sure, you that, but good Lord, the penalties. And then, not even related to us losing the game. Not even related to any performance on our half. Holy, I am already so got refs. These refs just inserting themselves for these little ticky-tack. I even got mad when they called a penalty on the Eagles because it was that stupid illegal formation. A point of emphasis this year. Shut the fuck up. Nobody wants to hear you. This is not striped shirt dickbag hour, okay? I don't care about your fucking refereeing. Nobody, you call the big stuff. Call the big stuff. Call it when somebody is egregiously breaking the rules. Other than that, shut. It's not about you. But I hope that we can figure something out. I mean, I guess we got a backup quarterback for a reason who has some experience, but I'm not confident. I'm not feeling good. I'm feeling real bad. So I'm gonna I guess just go drink my sorrows away today and try to enjoy what weekend I can. Go Pack Go, I guess.
Well, I agree with 70% of that. Again, I don't want to let everybody off the hook with the defense thing because the defense did not look the same. It's a very different defense. The only way it looks the same is if what you mean by the same, and this is what you said, but I'm just to be clear, the only way it looks the same is if what you mean is it didn't perform at a high level. Because this is a night and day different style of defense. This is the aggressive, downhill, press man defense that everybody's been begging for. And we saw some of the repercussions, right? Corners getting beat down the field. That's what happens when you play single high safety press man defense. There's not as much help. Joe Barry's whole thing was taking away the deep shots. That is not our emphasis anymore. So we're more susceptible to that. And that comes with the territory. And there's going to be more of that. There's going to be more takeaways, like we saw. There's going to be more like big plays and cool stuff like that. Hopefully, presumably, that's the goal anyways. But you got to be ready to take the good with the bad. As far as the run defense, I don't think it was that bad. I mean, obviously there were a couple times when they got gashed, especially toward the end when they were getting tired. But I think the overall yards per carry was relatively low for the Eagles. It was very high for the Packers. The offensive line was bad for sure. Trying to remember all the other specific points. The refs, I've already said I agree. I was even getting frustrated with the calls against the Eagles. Like, just at this point, just go away. We don't want to see you anymore. Just let the guys play. I don't care if they're breaking the rules. What else? As far as Jordan, the contract doesn't mean anything to me. A lot of people like to throw that in his face, like, oh, you got paid, now you have to earn it. Look, he always had to earn it. You always expect him to play at a high level, and I certainly expect him to get paid, which he did. I mean, if he's in a position to get paid, he should get paid. Whether or not he gets paid, he should be expected to play at a high level. So the contract thing is kind of irrelevant to me, I guess. And again, even if things don't pan out, like I'm not, well, now does the contract? No, the contract doesn't. The contract was always the right thing to do. If he gets hurt and doesn't play, that sucks, but it's whatever. Again, the alternative is you don't pay him, and then you're in the exact same situation without a quarterback, and your team sucks. It's not like that made us better. Yeah, but we have a lot of cap space. To do what with? I mean, the 49ers have like $50 million in cap space. What are they doing with it? Nothing. They're just going to sit on it, let it roll over to next year, and figure something else out. There's nobody out there. You're not going to go buy wins with it right now. There's nothing to do with money right now. I don't know. I think, like I said, I understand the frustration for sure. Everybody was mad at me on the stream yesterday because apparently I was being too negative. Because I said that's basically it. The game's basically over. When there was like 2 minutes left, and it was literally 99.5% certainty that the Eagles would win. But I guess you can't say that. That's too negative. So I get it. I'm that way too with stuff. Not maybe to the extent that you are, but it does get frustrating. And I also know the whole thing about, by halftime you're looking at it and going, this is just not good enough. The hope that I had is, number one, they obviously could tighten it up, and number two, the Eagles were also playing a little bit sloppy. So, I mean, my whole thing was just find a way to win and get out of here, because the Packers are not playing their best ball. The field conditions are terrible. The refs are out of control. The Eagles are also making a bunch of mistakes. It's just an absolute cluster. Excuse me. Thank you. That hurt my throat. All that screaming yesterday. I got a little bit of a little sensitive throat. I keep hitting refresh, dude. Usually these things come out by 11, and that's when they're grading every game on Sunday. I guess it was a late game, so I guess you can cut them a little bit of slack. But give me my grades, bro. I'll tell you what. How we doing on time right now? Oh, we're over an hour. All right, let's end it with Nate. I feel like that's a good spot to end it. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 calls. We ripped through a lot of calls today. We had like 30. We have 5 left. So make sure you get your calls in. Hopefully we get some good news about Jordan. I'm expecting him to miss some time, whether that's 2 weeks or 8 weeks or the season. I don't really know. The season is looking less likely, which is a good thing. But I guess we don't know at this particular point in time. So get your calls in, and I'll talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.